a lot of people don't know. I kicked it with hung with Boys and Men before they blew up, the Roots before they blew up, and I'm good with that. But I'm always still wanting to help other people. So even if even if I can help somebody be famous, even if I'm not the famous one, then cool, And I have mentees that have gone on to do bigger things than me,
Yeah.
and it's no hard feelings. It's nothing. I don't feel sour because I just know the Lord will make way for my gifts.
Yeah,
So
man.
the
I always say what God got for me, God got for me.
I made it come up. I made it come up. I made it come up. Yeah.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Interviews with Your Brand Man. And y'all, I am here with none other than the legend and Philly himself, Mr. T.C. Storm Caldwell, known as Stormy E. Weathers Entertainment, man. But listen, man, we all know him as a big homie, as Unc, man. He's always big on the sets, always big on behind the stage with us, man. You've seen this guy all over the stage. You've seen him all over your TVs. This guy has done some amazing work and is super familiar in the city. Please give this man a big round of applause, please, wherever you are. Thank you, TC, man. Thank you for showing up to Interviews with Your Brand Man. This is gonna be a dope interview already, I know. Thank you, brother, man. Thank you.
Listen, I appreciate the opportunity, man. How could I not be here, bro? Man, I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it what it is. You calling me a legend and all that stuff, and I can only be that with opportunities that are given. So, being that you're one of the people that's in that village of folks that reached out, picked up the phone, and said, "Yo, I need the OG on this project with us." And no, don't worry about auditioning. You in there?
You in there? Man, listen, man, your work precedes itself, and I've had the blessed opportunity to see your work a couple of times. And so when your name came up for casting, it was just a no-brainer. I was like, oh, he's perfect. I pray that he says yes. And man, you saying yes took the show to a whole nother level, man. And I really appreciate it. And so this edition of Interviews with Your Brand Man is featuring artists from the Josiah Enterprise Theater Festival. And so for everybody that doesn't know, TC has blessed the stage in our show Secrets and as Uncle Bill, and he just kind of like took the role and made it something else, like just crazy and phenomenal, because that's what this guy does, man. Like you will be blessed to go check out one of his shows and anything and everything that he does, which we are going to get into today. And man, I just want to thank you so much for doing what you do in this city, man. Like doing and being consistent at it, and being a big brother and a father, and being, Unc to so many of us out here. And just, you're always the last person to leave is what I always recognize, man. You stick around, you make sure everybody's great, you make sure everybody's good, man. Like, it's all love with you there, and I think everybody in the cast in general feels safe. And then I think one time we was in the theater and you started freestyling. I had to stop. I'm like, oh my man, what's going on? He rapping too. This jaw. So man, I'm glad to have you here. We're gonna learn. Everybody's gonna learn so much about you, man, from this interview. So for everybody that does not know who you are, man, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Thank you very much. For those that don't know, my name is T.C. Storm Caldwell, and the Storm is for my other pseudonym that I perform under, Storm E. Weathers, which you see on the, I'm saying on the promo and on the hat back there. Storm E. Weathers Entertainment. I am Storm E. Weathers because I bring the thunder, and I do, thankfully, I do a plethora of things when it comes to entertainment, when it comes to performing. I never like to be categorized as any one thing. I'm one of those 5-star hitters, and I'm at an age and at a place now that I can openly say that, but still with humility appreciate every opportunity, whether it's acting, whether it's hosting, whether it's emceeing, whether it's promoting, directing, producing, just some of everything that being blessed with the opportunity and to have my faculties about me to be even able to perform a fraction of what I've been able to do.
Man, so let's bring it back. You told us all of the things that you do, so let's hear about how you even got there, man. Can you walk us back through your past? Start with your beginning of the story. Young TC, man. Where'd young TC grow up, and what was going on with young TC to get him introduced to acting, directing, producing, entertainment in general?
Young TC is a country boy raised in the city of Philadelphia. My family is from the South. I'm born here, but was reared in the South, North Carolina and Georgia, respectively, from my mother's and my father's side, but raised in Philadelphia. And that was at a time when that was still during the migration of our people. And although we were already here, just the culture that was brought from the South to here, and the fact that I had my grandparents on my mother's side who were still, very Southern, and my mother at the time who had moved to Philadelphia, my father being the first part of the family being born on his side in Philadelphia from Georgia. So there was that culture that was raised in me. The level of respect, the level of civility, the level of chivalry. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. That respect that was always made to be there. And then my family is in entertainment. My father is a well-known singer from a very popular group in the doo-wop era from Philadelphia, the Orleans. Shout out to all the Orleans fans around the world, and just please keep my father in prayers. He's on the mend right now. He's dealing with, recovery from a couple of strokes that he had just before Christmas.
Oh, wow.
That's kind of, put things, put life in perspective.
Yeah.
I lost my mother. I've actually lost my mother longer. I had my mother a shorter time than since I've lost her. I've been without my mother 30 years now.
Oh, wow.
My mother for 30 years now.
Wow.
But she was an entertainer as well, a dancer. She had trained under Alvin Ailey for a short while. She was a college basketball player. She played basketball in high school, went to college, and before she could really get into playing college basketball, she found out she was pregnant with my brother. So that changed things. So she was a young wife, but then she eventually met my father years later, and it's been basically instilled in me from there. And it was crazy because I was just telling somebody the other day, I was actually almost close to being a teenager before I understood that my father was a celebrity.
Yeah.
He was just Pop. That was Daddy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, but it wasn't until I'm going through some of the albums and looking at the different album covers in the house, and I look and I see this dude. He looks like my brother on the album.
Yeah.
I'm like, Daddy, this Dwayne. This Dwayne. He's like, no, that's me. I was like, what?
Wow.
But it was, because he had been doing it since his teenage years.
Yeah.
And I came along when he was, almost 30 years old. And so you add those other 10 or whatever years it took for me to find out. So he's, close to 40 before I realized he'd been a singer traveling the country and had songs around the world, 4 top 10s in 2 years in his, 18th, 19th, 20th year living.
Yes. So did he intentionally keep that away from you? Was it like a lifestyle that he didn't want you involved in, or was he, just dad when he was dad, and then he was this doo-wop singer when it was time to doo-wop?
My father was a working man. Okay. So even with the music, and this is one of the things that I think have made me so successful, because of how the music industry was set then, it left a bit of a distaste. He was a little displeased with how things had gone because of the transition from how they used the young artists, especially from cities like Philadelphia, took them around, showed them off, had them singing and dancing. and then they almost came home with little to nothing.
Yeah.
Even after they stopped touring and singing, the songs are still playing, and depending on the contract that you had, you were still getting little to nothing. And who paid attention to what? Because the game was not built for the artists
No,
to
not at
be
all.
knowledgeable or wealthy back in those days. And that was one of the things that my father actually, in a sense, wanted to steer me away from, but at the same time encouraged me to know what was going on when it became my turn to be interested in the music business. And he was the only person I knew in the business. And I'm about 14 years old, and I get approached after doing a performance at a school performance, no less. And a guy coming through, and he liked what me and my partner was doing. He introduces himself.
Y'all were singing?
We're rapping.
Rapping? Okay.
And long story short, he wanted to put us in the studio to see how we would sound in the studio. And I'll give it to him. All in all, he was coming legit because he gave me all the paperwork that my father knew I would need. He knew that I would need to have permission to go to the studio, that this wasn't a guarantee of a contract, but if things look well and look good, I would have some music recorded. I'd have a good demo to promote, yada, yada. Boom, pre-production deal. My father was like, y'all gonna be singing or rapping? I said, we're gonna be singing. I mean, we're gonna be rapping. He said, that ain't no music. That's gonna be around.
And that's what I was going to ask. Like, your father's from like the doo-wop age. So what was his take on your music, genre of choice?
Bruh, rap was a fad. It wasn't gonna last. You take another, you was going, we didn't even get sampling era yet, but it was like, that ain't no rare. They up here messing up people records. And I was like, so I was like, what do I do? I don't know anybody else in the game. And but what that did was that made me go and learn and research the music business. And it's funny because while I'm interviewing with you, this is actually what I do on my platform on Inside the Music.
Okay.
We talk about the difference from then to now. And I'm kind of like the caveat I'm the tie-in between that old music that we loved and why the sample era was what it was. It wasn't to steal. It wasn't to get over. It was because the music was so loved that they wanted to use that music to tell their stories. Unfortunately, we didn't, and I say we collectively because I was actually good when I did it, but it wasn't, the business part of it wasn't understood. So to go back, that was something that I taught myself by going to the University of Penn Library. It was this big, crazy nut book in there called 1,001 Ways to Make It in the Music Business. And I just took notes, read the book. The book was big as me, so I wasn't taking it out. So I'm taking notes. And I learned so many things about the ownership of your work. It's almost common knowledge now, but in the late 80s, it wasn't, you didn't know it if you weren't on the business side. You didn't know about copyright versus publishing, the publishing breakdown, how to self-publish,
royalties,
the royalty breakdowns, the mechanical breakdowns, the where your music is played and how you should get paid if you have a recorded work, if you have something in a movie, the score, if you have something on a TV show, the score, if you have it in the beginning of the show, at the end of the show, how much what you can actually use as a sample for free. Man, it was just a lot of important things that as a 14-year-old learning and wanting to be in the business, I was able to soak up a lot. And couldn't put it to use immediately because those opportunities wasn't there, because the guy that wanted to get us started, he knew who my father was. But when I told him, man, I can't do it. I don't know anybody and I need my dad's permission. And he was like, oh man, well, I'm sorry. He said, dang, I really thought this was going to work. You guys really got something. And, time just went on. But by the time I went through school, I was in school with folks that was on tour with Biz Markie and going, doing a Fresh Fest, Pepsi Fresh Fest and all that kind of stuff that I don't know if you know it at your age.
I've heard about it.
But these were different concerts that some of my classmates were a part of being tied into some of the artists and what have you.
What high school
So
was this? What high school did you go to?
I went to Parkway. I went to
Okay.
Parkway Grammar. Well, we were alternative school. A lot of folks. It's amazing. It's amazing when I talk to different folks how many different people actually went to Parkway.
Yeah.
And that's why I say we have some illustrious alum along with the bigger name schools and the more well-known schools. Most importantly, like Mayor Sherelle Parker, she and I graduated together in Philadelphia's
Nice.
mayor.
Yeah.
We graduated
Major
out the same
congrats to
class in
her.
high school. Yeah. So yeah, that just pushed me to learn how to learn the business for myself. And then by the time I was getting out of high school and went away to college, and I was acting up to that point, like I did Walter and Raisin in the Sun and did the Greek mythology plays and was, doing my thing. And that just goes back to where you originally asked how did I get started.
Yeah.
I was actually stage fright when I was little.
Okay.
But I used to always walk around the house singing. That was why my father asked me, was I going to be singing or not? I was singing around the house all the time, but I would have stage fright when he would say, here, sing for so-and-so, sing for the family. But then I go to church and be singing my face off. And then I eventually joined the choir. And the first time I saw somebody cry when I was singing a gospel song, I was shook. I didn't know what to do.
Wow. How old were you?
Probably about 10, 11, maybe.
Okay.
And I had a little piece of a solo. And a lady, and I'm thinking she was crying because I did something, that might have dealt with the Holy Spirit or whatever, whatever might have been working out. I was like, and I was like, no, I don't want to sing no more. I was like, the lady didn't like me singing. She started crying, And it was like, no, man, no, that was good. That was good.
It's a good sign.
I've been on stage since I was little. Been in it since I was little. Once I shook the stage fright, then it was just, but again, I wasn't always the out front person. I always felt like it's kind of like now in the industry, they like the pretty people, not necessarily all the talented people.
Facts.
So I just had to learn how to navigate that. So that was another part of learning this business overall. And learning how to be an effective performer. But in my little school plays and all that, I was the best tree on stage, bro.
Listen, and so how'd you get into the acting? What made you get into the school plays? How'd that come about? Because it sounds like, well, did the rapping come first before and the music was there before acting?
I was born. I am literally. I'm a rap child. I'm the same. I'm a little older than rap itself. It's a few months between my birth and the birth of rap and hip hop. So as we just finished celebrating this 50th anniversary of hip hop, that was a beautiful thing because this is something I've literally had all my life. Although my favorite music is jazz. But rap music is just something that grew as I grew. I got good at it mistakenly, I believe, or shall I say inherently by learning how to actually do it. I used to always make me be the beatbox for everybody else. And then one day I jumped out there and started rapping. And we like, yo, he all right,
Yeah, man. Like, listen, when I heard you in the theater, I had to stop because I'm like, yo, TC got bars though? Like, where did this come from? Like bars, and you was going, like it wasn't no 16, my man, killed threw like 48 bars out there for us.
Yeah. We once the rap bug hit me, and then I've always been a guy that liked to be in a group. Okay. So I think that was it too, because I had somebody, iron sharpened iron. So even in high school, I was a member of a duo group, linked up with a couple guys, a guy around my way. He was the little brother of a rapper that was already out, Ant Live, and he was learning how to DJ. So I was in a group, but I was still like solo, but we was doing that for a while. But then we had to kind of break it down because my man couldn't stay out the streets. And for a young man that age, I'd already knew in my heart that I needed somebody that was going to be able to focus on, if this is what we want to do to be better, we got to do what I do to be better. And if we got to do it the right way, because ain't no sense putting ourselves in harm's way to try to get money to do this when we don't have that kind of support and help, because my mama wouldn't have it.
Yeah.
My father.
Which made me think when you said that, like, it makes me think that you definitely grew up with your mom and your dad's influence. And so, like, what did that look like, artistic wise? Like, what did they expose you to outside of just the music, in regards to arts? Was that one of the reasons why you filtered into acting?
I filtered into acting. I'm gonna be honest with you. When I got into the music bit, when I got into the music and then getting into the music business, that was really my focus. And that was probably my focus from uh 19 years old till I was about, I'm gonna say probably 38.
Nice.
I was
Okay.
away from acting for I was away from acting for 20 years. Now, the music business itself, all the stuff that's coming out now, there's not too many people lying about it. But
Mm-hmm.
I think people are talking about it so much now because they wasn't getting paid anymore. They're not getting paid anymore. All the money dried up, kind of
Yeah,
like what
yeah, yeah.
happened to the Phillies OG Bill Cosby.
Mm-hmm.
The money ran out, so now I'm gonna go tell it like it just happened and make this man look bad. Well, the music business, the stuff that we're hearing about the music business is not new.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, most of these people are not lying. Um, I was there, unfortunately, for some shenanigans. I'm just not for it.
Yeah.
So if that meant I had to sacrifice being successful, then okay, then that's a sacrifice because I got a father and I got to look myself in the mirror every day. So I'm just not willing to do what some people's willing to do to be famous. And but even still, there was a place for artists like myself because I wound up linking up with some good friends. These guys are my best friends over 30 something years now. My brother came back from North Carolina. We all linked up. We made a bunch of different groups. We had our own Philly version of Wu Tang.
Hmm.
And once again, folks didn't understand the business. A lot of people wanted to sing and wanted to rap and entertain, but they didn't understand it's a business.
Yeah.
I'm building relationships with all the record stations, the radio stations, with all the program managers, finding ways to get in on. They got the open mic thing, or rush it or flush it, make it or break it. Keep rapping or keep your day job. I mean, I'm with the Lady B's, I'm with the Yvette Moneys, I'm with the Kobe Coves, the Golden Boys, the Golden Girls, the Albie. I'm with all the radio stations, man.
Mm-hmm.
And but the thing was the back and forth with New York. Not that you don't have to do it, but the back and forth with New York, the talking to the different record labels, owning our publishing, and that was the reason why a lot of people didn't want to sign us because we owned our publishing already.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Smart.
Um, Smart on my behalf, terrible when it came to how they handled business
Mm-hmm.
because you couldn't take from me what I earned. I had to negotiate it, which I was willing to,
Mm-hmm.
but because it was a very greedy game, they wanted you to negotiate on their terms. So it actually wasn't truly a negotiation,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
And again, I wasn't with it. We had our own formula. We had our thing set up. We had my sister brought in Shionism, who was a part of she was our PR person as well as featured on one of the songs that we put out there. We were the first group that the Harry Fox agency allowed to sample Sade and get a clearance for Sade with
Mm.
a song called "I Want to Be Your Man." Um, we tried to do the music justice, but and again, the late 80s, early 90s, it just wasn't about that. So I'm around the Busta Rhymeses, I'm around the leaders of the new schools, I'm around the
Mm.
Chubb Rocks, the Dougie Freshes, the Jay-Z's. Before we know the Jay-Z we know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm around these people. Not saying that we were friends, not saying that we were in the studio together, but I
But
was in
y'all in
enough
y'all in the,
places.
y'all in the same space. This is cool, man. I didn't know how extensive your background is with hip hop. So I got a couple of questions on that one. Just so like, how do you feel in regards to the music industry and the hip hop? Let's speak hip hop industry in itself, like creative wise. How do you feel it is, growing up with hip hop like you did? You've experienced all the different kind of waves that hip hop has hit. And I'm coming up in like the names that you just mentioned, those were the people that I, grew up listening to, that grew up listening to the people that birthed hip hop, right? And so I'm like, me, just a little brief story. Don't know if you know this history on me. So graduating out of high school, I went into the music industry myself, and how I even learned how to brand and market is just by doing music. And so me, my brother, my cousin, we started up a record label called A Marriage Entertainment. I built a booth in my mom's basement, and we started doing our music out of there. My brother came home after we made a little mixtape. I did like little photo shoot on a camera, a little, disposable camera,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, tailored the pictures, stamped the CDs, and my brother went to high school and he was selling them. He came back and sold like, 5 or 6 copies or whatever, and I'm sitting there holding like the little $23. It was my first $23 that ever made from something that we created. And it was just like, it was, then I was addicted. I was like, oh no, we can create forever now. And
Yeah.
so long story short on that, I wound up figuring out, we put my brother's album together. I was like, yo, no more mixtapes, we need everything original. So I bought a beat machine, we got some producers on, we made a whole original album, and we took it to the streets, and we sold over 10,000 copies within 2 years.
Yeah.
And that was just us being on hand to hand, talking to people. And so that, was my introduction. And I just remember the love for music is like no other, man. Like the vibes you get just from being in the studio, just creating. And then for me, I also love business. So being able, that's where it's just like, okay, if we stand out here enough, we're able to sell these amount of CDs. But while we're out here, let's also take down names. Let's also write down email addresses so we can contact people back. And so when we would drop another project, I had boxes and boxes and boxes of names. From people that either bought the CD or people that were interested. Because I noticed that if they didn't buy the CD, some of them were still interested. So I said, let's make sure we grab their contact. So we would recontact them back when we were dropping a new project, drive around, dropping off samples, all of that. And so that's a bit of my history. So it's very interesting to hear yours and how in deep you were in the music industry. So the question that coming back to the question I asked, just like how, for business and for the creative side, like what do you think of the state of it right now?
Hip hop,
Yeah,
or just entertainment in general.
hip hop.
Hip hop is now, we have more ownership of hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
The business is still there, but everything that I was saying 25 years ago, everything I was saying 25, 28 years ago is now into fruition. Because remember what I said, things have changed since then when it came to ownership. So now you will see the record label's names along with the artist company name, along with their publishing company, you'll see a lot of slashes when you see videos and stuff now, because the ownership is broken up and the artist was able to get in where they fit in. I was originally offered a 360 deal because of how much we owned, and the label liked that we owned and that we had our publishing, because that was a way for all of us to make money. And all they said was, okay, well, then how about this? We can work with that structure. But when you go out and perform, we get a piece. When you go out, if you get merchandise, you get a little piece. And that's again, the recoupment is still there. You still have to make back the investment. But what it is, though, is the aspect of ownership is I can write my own check as well. So I don't have to see you at the time for us. I don't have to see you infuse $200,000 into us. I'm 400 in the hole.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So because I got to get back to zero before I make $1. Mm-hmm. So you already given us 200. Now I got to earn 200 before I earn $1 for myself. Yeah. So let's break down the ownership pieces, and let's get these 25 to 45 hundredths of $1 that the publisher can own, so that we can break down and be able to make our own money, so that we can pay you back faster. Because if all you're doing is taking money out of my pocket because you have 100% recoupment of any funds that I earn, versus a 25% split that me, my brother, my sister own, and you take a quarter. So every time money is being made, you're making your recoupment back, and we can actually pay you some of that recoupment back. Those were things that were never taught early on.
Yeah.
But
man.
now that Now that the artist can control publishing, the artist can control part of the distribution, and that being able to put your stuff on MP3s, MP4s, put it on digital platforms, and thus and so. So now you just minimize your distribution costs.
Yeah,
So
big
instead of
facts.
having to give everybody a CD, you just give them a link and
Yeah,
it's
man,
music.
it's changed so, man, it's changed so crazy. And I remember when we were coming up, I would always bring when we would bring artists in, my number one question would be like, do you want to be famous or do you want to be rich or successful? Not rich, but like successful. Do you want to be famous or successful? Because it's two different things, and you got to sacrifice for both of them, whichever sacrifice you really want to make. And when we were coming up, we had a lot of interest, but people were like, y'all don't want a record deal. Y'all don't want a record deal. And my biggest thing was, I'm like, from what I hear about deals, it's like not really a deal. And I was like, but I do know for a fact that if we create our own stuff and own everything, we keep all the money that we sell on these streets. I like what that sounds like.
And that was a wonderful thing because again, I know there's an age difference between us. So when the original Behind the Music started, when the original Behind the Music started on VH1, no brand tag. I'm just that's where the show was.
Yeah.
They did an episode on TLC.
I remember that one.
TLC went around the world twice. TLC came home after selling. They essentially went diamond and some change, and came home and had to split $75,000.
Yep.
After all was said and done. Now, don't get me wrong. Their deal was janky and full of conflict. So let's be clear about that. That wasn't just off a straight situation and earnings. But I went through our records. I said, yo, we sold 8 million records. He said, my brother was like, what? I said, fam, just watch TLC. They sold 13 million records, went around the world twice, and had to come home and split 75,000. I said, that's 25 a piece. I said, fam, we cleared 35. We sold 8 million records.
Yep.
I said, after we paid our overhead, after we paid our little taxes, after we paid listen, we sold 8 million records. So I'm like, that's the bottom line. If you tell them if I got all these plaques on the wall and ain't got no wall to put them on, what do that say? Yeah,
that part, bro.
My priorities was in the right place. So, and people didn't understand. There was a lot of money to be made out there, but that was the era of hip hop that I come from.
Yeah.
But what I will say, that the business is, one, we own a little more, we control a little more, we collaborate a little better. But I'm going to always say everything ain't for everybody. And no, I don't like all of what I hear, but it's kind of like that relative that you don't necessarily, get along with, but nobody else better not mess with them.
I love how you put that. Yeah.
Because I also say, if these people are doing something other than robbing, killing, hurting, and doing unlawful things, and this is their way to make their bread and butter, leave them alone.
Yeah.
That's little cuz I might not agree. I might not like how he dress. I might not like how he sound, but he ain't in the streets acting a fool. He's entertaining y'all. And I say the problem comes when you have certain artists or certain music styles that I might not necessarily care for me and myself. I tell my children, and I tell the children around me, you must know the difference. This person is doing something to entertain you. Just like you go to the movies and you see 8 people get shot down. Just like you go watch the Marvel movies, you see a whole building get blown up. I said, it's entertainment.
Yep.
Those people are going to come out and do another movie soon. These people are going to come out and give you another song soon. So stop thinking that they out in the street now. Those that are out in the street living that life, I'm just going to continue to pray that there's a change and that we stop losing so many of these young melanated men and women from what's now, we had reality rap, and now what they're doing is literally killing each other and killing us as a people. So I'm hoping that at some point that changes and it stays to just being music, and we stop losing lives, because that's the worst part of the business for me right now is people are getting paid to kill each other.
So how do you feel in regards to the part that music plays and the deterioration of our people in general?
And I want to say I have the distinct pleasure of being a part of the crew of one of the original beef rappers, Chief Rocker Busy B, from the Bronx, New York. He welcomed me into his circle through my big brother producer, big man Wayne Chateau, and to see it come from there. This was the guy that before Kool Mo D was battling LL, this was the guy that was supposed to battle Kool Mo D.
Yeah, nice.
And
nice.
just, I love battle rap. I love the beef raps. I love all the different beefs. I don't like that it came off of records.
Yeah.
It stopped being about the music. Because again, this was a way for everybody to make some money. This is a way for everybody to push our art forward. Once it stopped being about the music, that's where we as the folks that hear what's going on have to step up in some way, shape, or form to try to influence some kind of change. And it is difficult because this is just like whatever the lifestyle for me to feel that way about trying to fix it is the lifestyle that some of these people are living in to keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And to keep assimilating that hurt and that harm, man. So I just wanted to come to some point where we can go back to it just staying on wax, man. Just keep it on the track. Just keep it digital and get paid. You know, why nobody should have to die for this, man. Nobody should have to die for this.
In general, man. In general. So you know your thing in the music business, and you've been doing it for a while. What made you step away from it or to step out of it?
I just got disenchanted with the direction that it was going, business wise. There was no way in the world that if I know outside of the room, which y'all know behind the door, and I'm punished for it because I'm the talent. There's no way I gotta get up, go rehearse, get up, go do a photo shoot, get up, go to the studio, get up, go perform, and only make 10% of the money. And then of that 10%, I gotta split half of that with Uncle Sam. Then I gotta pay the other people that wasn't paid by the record company, and anything that I gotta pay from the record company, I gotta pay back to y'all. So I'm paying twice.
It wasn't working.
Yeah, I was bad at a lot of things. Math wasn't one of them.
Yeah, I was about to say, the math wasn't mathing. Dang, yeah. So when you took, because you were in it for 2 decades, and so like when you stepped away, what did that feel like? What did you feel like you have, like, art wise? Like, did you feel a little empty? Like, how'd that go for your psyche? Because for artists, it's more than just a business. I think, well, for me, I can speak for myself. I got wrapped up in the business. I got wrapped up in the art of business, mainly because I like to make money off the art. And so I did get wrapped up in the business aspect of it and like that, and kind of stuck with it throughout my career. However, the art part was still like, I need that, you know what I mean? Like, I need to be creatively, release myself creatively in this atmosphere, in this world. And so like, what did that come to for you?
It's gonna sound corny. I just try to find a way to help the next person, but I use the influence and the knowledge that I had to try to help them. I got called after a while. Once I started slowing down performing, I was being called to help artists do artist development for some independent labels and artists and folks that had an inside track to get an artist on a label. When State Property, Rockefeller, before they really, when they were doing their Philly searches and bringing the folks from Philly on, I had a couple people that were managing a couple of artists that they were trying to introduce to them, teaching them how to rap for more than your friends. You gotta know how to move a crowd of people that don't know you. Because that was the one thing. That was the one thing I always had. I always had open mics.
Yeah.
So I go to I go to open mic and tear it down
Yeah.
because I knew how to perform with a band. I knew how to perform with a track. I knew how to perform, you know, live with, you know, but and plus off the top, you know, freestyling. I could make any person sitting in the room a part of my show and they would love it. And plus I also did spoken word. So I always had an outlet.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Got
I
you.
always had an outlet. I shared the stage with Music Soul Child before he got his, but right when he signed his deal, we were in a performance together, showcase together. Um, Tommy Blackwell from No Question,
Oh,
um,
wow.
with Mark Nelson from As Yet because he was one of the original members of Boys and Men. A lot of people don't know. I kicked it with hung with Boys and Men before they blew up, the Roots before they blew up, and I'm good with that, but I'm always still wanting to help other people. So even if even if I can help somebody be famous, even if I'm not the famous one, then cool, you know. And I have mentees that have gone on to do bigger things than me,
Yeah.
and it's no hard feelings. It's nothing. I don't feel sour because I just know the Lord will make way for my gifts.
Yeah,
So
man.
the
What God, I always
opportunity.
say, what God got for me, God got for me. Listen, man, I was saying somebody the other day. I said, listen, I'm not worried about making money. I know how to sell, so I'll always make some money. I know how to sell something, and music taught me that. So when you guys, when you left the music game, you were a part of. You said your brother and your sister was. So when you split, was that like an amicable split? Like, did you guys how'd that go? Because I know working a business and running entertainment with partners can be a little tricky sometimes.
It was good.
Okay.
We was all in the same place. We didn't sign no bad contracts.
Nice.
We were all understanding of what we were doing. Plus, we had other people that we were still with that some kind of got the picture, some didn't get it. Um, some folks rather smoke weed than put the money into the business, so we got to do. Hey, all right, cool.
Hmm.
One of my guys that was with us way back then is making a killing in the Midwest. He is making a killing in the Midwest,
Nice.
and it's all love. It's still fam. And we never let any of those things come in between us because my sister is still rocking and managing our baby brother. He's doing his thing. My brother, unfortunately, in '07 suffered a stroke, but it affected him to where it's more, he has a more of the physicality to it because his brain is still sharp. He
Yeah.
actually still writes, and every so often when I'm freestyling or I'm working on something, I'll use some of the bars he wrote just to let him know, yo, your pen is
It's,
still fire.
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
my
that's dope.
homage to him, you know, paying honor to him for still being sharp like that.
Yeah.
We'll send bars back and forth. He'll send me a couple, and then I'll send him a couple back. And before you know, it's just things like that. So everything
That's
was good
dope. Yo, I
because
remember you saying one thing in one of our rehearsals where you were just like, you wanted to bring that shine back to Philly, and I think me and brother Kyrie talked about this too. Was just like, yo, most of the times a lot of artists and a lot of people we know a lot of famous entertainers and a lot of successful entertainers from Philadelphia, but their success came after they left Philadelphia and went to LA, New York, Atlanta. And so one of the things you had mentioned is just, being able to establish the mecca that we are here, like the flood of artists that we have is ridiculous. And we have the groundswell support. We have the money that can be spent here. Why do you think that artists need to leave Philadelphia in order to bubble and get that kind of acclaimed success that we would otherwise not get here or that we're not getting here?
I equate it to I equate it to the best of anything in entertainment, athletics,
Okay.
right? You can be a hell of a basketball player, and you be the truth on the playground. And as we know, the pinnacle and the mecca of basketball is the NBA.
Hmm.
If we are trying to get to the NBA and that's the pinnacle, then you have to go to the ABC camp, the Nike camp, the Adidas camp, the Under Armour camp. You got to go to all the other places to get to that pinnacle.
Get to the league.
to get to the league. And the league has always been LA, New York, and then it became Atlanta. Philly was the league during the Sound of Philadelphia, during the
Yeah.
Motown competition, during that back in the day. But once we started leaving, then we started allowing them to pick us off one at a time.
Mm.
And then when those that tried to come back to make it happen didn't really get the opportunities. And we have one of the biggest stars in the world,
Mm-hmm.
Willard Smith III, that was trying to bring sound stages, studios, and everything to Philadelphia. And they did everything in their power to not allow it to happen.
Yeah.
People will say, yo, he left and never came back. This man always been trying to come back.
Yeah.
He has his Philly stamp on everything.
Yeah. He owns a lot down here. Yep.
That you know that it's him.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the powers that be won't allow this brother to make it happen, man. And it's unfortunate and unfair. So and that's why we have to leave and come back.
Yeah.
That's why I thank God. I thank God for artists like Meek Mill.
Yeah.
I thank God for artists like Will. I thank God for Kevin Hart's.
Yeah.
Because these are guys that are at the top of the game, but still come back, give, do, and don't make a big deal about it.
Yeah. Big facts.
They just want to see that those that get opportunities just do the same thing, because we know how hard it is. And that's what I say. They say you can make it in New York. No, please. New York has just got a lot of competition.
Yeah.
You gotta get past. But in Philly, you gotta get past your own people.
Yeah, man. And once you got them on your side, man, you got some loyalty. You got some loyal.
But once you got them,
bruh, nobody. It's like having Spartans on your back. It's like having 300.
Once you got them,
yeah. It's a wrap. Nobody can penetrate you. Nobody can mess with you.
I'm gonna be so honest with you, man. I'm kind of like almost in that place, because now, after doing Secrets and in the same summer doing Zoo Man and the Sign, seeing my name for the first time after all this time and all these productions. I tell folks, people have no idea how many drinks I've done since I got back into acting, not just overall in my life, but since I came back to acting in 2012. Yeah, 2011. Just that short time, these last 12 years, 13 years, rival a lot of people's lifetimes. And to see my name on a list, to be honored in this craft, finally, is like,
yeah, man.
I was like,
bro, when I saw that list, I was like, dang, TC.
Yo, and then I'm like, dang, I gotta split the vote. I'm competing against myself.
Yeah, because that's that work, bro.
I'm competing against myself, and that's a wonderful feeling, because I used to harbor a lot of resentment. I used to harbor a lot of stuff when I looked at some of the folks that, no disrespect, I'm like,
I put in work though. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. Like, I put in that work. Like, what's going on? The math ain't math.
On stage, I'm like, I'm burying this dude on stage. This dude can't hold a candle to my talent, to my skills. But then I remembered, it's just like music business. It's all about your relationships.
Yep. That's a big core fact, man. So when you let's jump to the acting, man. So you got into acting, you were rapping. Not most, well, you know what? A lot of rappers do kind of transition into acting, like. But you said you did it in high school too before. So when you got into it back in 2000,
I was acting before I ever spit a bar.
Oh, okay.
Since I was 6 years old.
Oh man. So what gave you that bug back in 2011? Say, yo, let me go grab this audition.
An old co-worker that said, hey, can you come be in this play with me? I said, I have not done that in 20 years. She was like, I don't care. She said, when you tell stories, She said, I don't even know what you be talking about, but you are just so entertaining when you talk. And I'm like, you sure? She's like, yes, I'm positive. At that place, shout out to Miss Lynn. Ms. Lynn brought me into a production called One Way to God,
Mm.
which was a play that dealt with the fraudulent side, or the what can I say, the faddish side of religions, including Christians. We had the carnal Christian, the hairy Christianer, the Muslim, the Jehovah's Witness. So it left no stone unturned.
Wow.
That production, shout out to Ms. Lynn Galloway. I saw the tape. That was the best thing that could have happened when I was back on stage for the first time after all these years. It was recorded, and I had to sing at the end of it. I saw the tape, and it was horrible. Talking on my upstage shoulder, wearing hard bottom shoes on a wood stage and delivering.
Dang.
Clip my jacket into my phone. My
Oh
phone clip.
man.
So I'm trying to close my jacket and wondering why I won't close is because
Oh
my phone clip
man.
from when I did my phone scene. Crazy. And the play was a wonderful play. I got introduced to Miss Cheryl Cherie, rest in paradise, Miss Cheryl Cherie. And I was introduced to her as a mentor to Ms. Lynn, who was doing a movie with Clayton Prince.
Yeah.
And I know
I know, definitely know Clayton.
You know Clayton. And that was called Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil. But because of scheduling conflicts and casting issues, we just wound up doing the play version. And from that, I wound up playing dual roles as the pastor and the pimp, who were two separate characters.
Oh wow.
So it wasn't even like one was matriculated into the other. I wanted to do it because we couldn't get the right brother to do the pimp role. So I had to do the pastor, who the story was kind of centered around, and then playing the pimp, who was a support character. And I had scenes where them in that joint were like back to back.
Wow.
So I literally had to run off stage like what I used to do when I was modeling, had to run off stage, snatch and jump, and I'll jump right into the next suit. And I mean, a complete change. Not even I can wear the same shirt.
I was about to say, did you have to change your hair too, or wear a wig? Like you had to play two different roles.
God, just throwing the hats on.
Okay.
Yeah, hat and sunglasses as the pimp. Pastor had regular glasses, like reading glasses, and regular suits and everything, but it was like full changes.
Hey, so now that you've been kind of running through your plays, like how do you feel about acting and the business of acting, even in regard, like where's the comparison for you to music and theater and movies and arts? Like where does Stormy E. Weathers Entertainment fit in? Like what does that stand for? What is that branded for?
Okay.
And yeah.
All right, so let's go to the Stormy E. Weathers. Stormy E. Weathers came from when I was rapping. I was under a different stage name at the time, Two Bams. And one night, me and my brother, we would go to open mic at the old Quincy's used to be on City Line Avenue when the Adams Mark Hotel was still up on City Line Avenue. And it rained every week when we went. So one week we went and it wasn't raining, and it scared the devil out of me because I was like, yo, this place going to catch on fire. Like, what? I said, yo, we've been here for like 2 months in a row and it was raining every night we came here for open mic. This is the first night it didn't rain. I'm like, yo, I'm just hoping don't nothing happen. Like, yo, you tripping. So we freestyling, we got a band in there. We had built a relationship with the band. they didn't even know how to play hip hop at first, but we said, okay, you know how to play movie theme songs like Barney Miller and all of that. And they was like, yeah, no, I already knew they knew music, Slipping in the Darkness, Busting Loose. We would have them play stuff like that and rap over that. So long story short, I'm freestyling and I threw this bar in there, something. It ain't raining, so you ain't gotta wonder. I'm gonna bring the heat and the call me Stormy Weathers because I bring the heat and the thunder. And he looked at me and I'm like. And we just went on to finish. She's like, yo, when we got done off stage, she said, yo, what was that you said? You did what? What the what? I was like, huh? And because it was a freestyle, I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, right.
He was like, yo, it ain't no rain, so you ain't gotta wonder why I bring the heat. Call me Stormy. He said, call me Stormy Weathers because I bring the thunder. I was like, that's what I said? He was like, yo. I was like, and then after a while, that name, it just stuck. And I always, for the song Can't Go On, got a feeling that it's no stormy weather. And I always had an idea in my head that I would have that as an introduction to a song for myself.
Yeah.
So I was like, instead of Stormy, Stormy, or Stormie, I did it like my name, Storm E. Weathers.
Nice.
Like my first name, middle initial, last name.
Yeah.
And it stuck.
Yeah.
So I kept the Storm for short. And I just used that as a brand. And when I got doing more acting, my name was just still TC Caldwell till, of course, you in a business like this, somebody else has that name.
Yeah.
So in order to make my name unique, I dropped the Storm into
Smart.
in between, because it used to be my nickname, which is Bam Bam, like the Flintstones. That's a whole nother life right there.
Yeah.
But I was like, let me move this into a more business savvy situation. And that's where Storm came. So now, and as you see on my bio, it has, TC Storm Caldwell, TC, also PKA, Stormy Weathers, so that folks understand there is a two name like, Rock, The Rock and Dwayne Johnson, LL Cool J and James Todd Smith, Ice Cube, O'Shea Jackson, TC Caldwell, Stormy Weathers. It was like, dang. So as far as where the business of it is now, I am in more control of my yeses and nos.
Amen.
I'm getting, and I think that's always been me. I always want to control the direction that my talent would be taken as much as possible. Yes, I wanted to be SAG, wanted to be union, one of those different projects that I was on. I would have already probably had my SAG card, but other people's lack of due diligence kind of kept that from happening because the projects didn't have their paperwork in on time. Whereas my paperwork was one of the first ones on the table. You tell me my paperwork is due, we doing SAG, it's getting paid, boom, my joint is there. But unfortunately, everybody else wasn't on that same motivational standard. Things happen, and then it's just wonderful because now I've gone from the faith-based independent circuit to now being in more of the published works, and the fact of having my name being mentioned in Barrymore conversations, and I'm like,
yeah,
like,
man,
seriously, and it's strange because my brother, the same brother that I rap with, he will always say, he said, yo, just, man, when you get your Tony Award, man, and I'm like, bro, I'm not even, but the brother been speaking it, and now I'm now beginning to work with more of the upper echelon directors and in the city. More of the projects have taken me into places and spaces where these are the people that are equivalent to the New York folks that I did some things with in the off Broadway stuff that I've done. Now in Philly, I'm meeting with the Philly's upper echelon directors and producers and some of the talent. Like my man Walt, I love Walt. When I say Walt is he is one of my biggest motivations because before we ever worked together, he knew who I was. He saw who I was on stage doing a Romeo and Juliet performance with my students. And he came one time and just happened to see it. And then he came back with his students and he was like, yo, I could hear him from the stage. See, I break the fourth wall quite regular.
Yeah.
He was like, yo, listen. He's like, listen to him, listen to him. And I could hear him telling them, close your eyes. Where's his voice coming from? He's like, it sounds like he's behind us. He said, that is how you project. He said,
Yeah.
that's what's supposed to happen. And it took a while before we got to actually work together, because we were actually on a couple different projects and different scenes on some films and short films and stuff, independent joint projects. But last year, man, I just
Yeah, man. God
and
did his thing, man.
the brother always showed love, because when I was working a couple other shows, and that him and Carlo and Rod Dion, me and Rod Dion worked on stuff back in my early coming back to the stage days, and we hit it off real big, and then the introductions happened, and it was all good, black men supporting black men and encouraging each other to push, and that kind of support is good. So I would definitely like to say what's been good for the business as well is the plethora of black men that I've had the opportunity to work with doing this.
Facts.
The brothers, the kings, not being afraid to share that space, being encouraging, accepting whatever minor input that I might, ask for, seeing if I can move around a little bit and do something a little different and give it a little, gravitas to the character, or hey, how about if I try it like this? Well, let's try it and see. They're like, yeah, keep that. Just is wonderful, man. It's wonderful working with so many of these brothers, yourself included, John, as you know, which is where we first, linked up together. Just, man, opportunities, man. And that's the one thing that I can say for this aspect right now. The opportunities are way more prevalent than some of the same or similar opportunities with music.
And so what does the next 5 years, what does the future look like for Stormy Weathers and for Stormy Entertainment? What does the future look like for you, brother?
The next 5 years, the hope is that I'm like the brand man and I can work for myself and take care of my children at the same time. Because there'll be enough seeds being sown that the harvest is more than plentiful.
Amen. It's always the goal.
The next 5 years, I will have probably directed probably 3 or 4 more projects. And shout out to my business partner, Lady S, who took the chance, number one, to keep a promise to me that was made back when I was making my comeback into the game of acting. But in 5 years, I would like like I said, I want to be able to be completely self-sufficient. If not, I'm in such a place with partnerships that there's enough to feed everybody, and everybody be well taken care of. My mentor, my mentees, I'll have more of my mentees doing national TV work or international work. My consulting will jump exponentially. The clientele will jump exponentially, and I'll have my clothing line going, because that's next on the agenda right now. Is getting these clothing lines, because I'm trying to brand ambassador for others, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if I'm too big. I don't know if I'm too old. I don't know if I'm not fly enough. I don't know what it is, but I was like, all right, I guess I got to do my own thing. And, because that's one thing. I believe in partnerships, man.
Yeah, man.
And that's one thing. I haven't seen a table that has one leg yet.
That part at all. None at all. None at all. No
No
one-legged table at all, man.
I haven't seen a one-legged table yet.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's dope, man. I know I say that's the last question, but I guess this last one is for the comments before we jump into the fire rounds. What do you have to say to, let's talk to the individual that might be feeling like giving up on themselves. They, how the music game let you down and you had to pivot, and that doesn't mean that you're still leaving music, but what do you have to say to the person that might need to pivot, might need to do something different? Something's letting them down and they need to go to something new. They're in a that's stuck trying to maybe find themselves? What do you have to say to that person to, get them to the next level?
I'm gonna tell you that is a wonderful question, because shout out to Casey Cousin and my mentor DC Don DeCosta out in Vegas for our Inside the Music panel. That's one thing that I ask an artist: if you could go back and tell your younger self something from what you know now, what would it be? So that's a very good question. And one thing that I would always say to anybody that thinks about giving up or anything like that: people will disappoint you. Mm. God will never disappoint you. Mm. So although the music let me down, God didn't.
Yep.
No. Do I have $1 million? Do I have $1 million in the bank? Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. But I got more money in there than people might think. Mm-hmm. I got 800 plus credit.
Mm-hmm. Amen. Listen, that's $1 million worth $1 million right there.
You probably say that too loud because I don't know who's gonna bump me over the head. But the things that I don't have in one area, God has made provision in others. So what's for me is for me. I'm not meant to be Denzel Washington. That's Denzel Washington. Mm-hmm. I'm not meant to be Samuel L. Jackson. That's Samuel L. Jackson. I'm not meant to be Idris Elba. That's Idris Elba. Forrest Whitaker. I'm not meant to be the brand man. Mm-hmm. I'm meant to be TC Storm Caldwell, CEO, founder of Stormy Weathers Entertainment, and I have relationships with all these people that I can take a little bit from here and there. I love Denzel Washington, but I model my career after Samuel L. Jackson, Storm L. Jackson. You'll see that every so often, and that's when I'm in my bag or when I'm going hard, because he, not Denzel, he, not Eddie Murphy, he, not Forrest Whitaker, is the #1 grossing box office actor in the history of box office acting. So as far as where we are with that, people and places might disappoint you, but God will never disappoint you. So even in all of it, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be right now.
Amen. Amen. Hope y'all heard it, man. So listen, even if people disappoint you, God will never disappoint you. So that's where you got to point your faith and point everything else in that direction. So listen, we're about to go into these 5-round questions, 10 5-round questions, just easy stuff. There you go. You got 5 seconds. If you don't answer in 5 seconds, we move on to the next one. First question. What's your song that gets you hype?
Ooh. Oh my God, gets me hype. Got too many of them, bro. Got too many of them.
Too many.
I can go. I got from too many. I can go from DMX. I can go from DMX to Jay-Z to Ja Rule, New York. I'm from New York, and then I flip it and put it in Northside. I could do PD Crack and Freeway and Beans. We will flow.
So too many songs.
So yeah,
a lot gets you hype. A lot gets you hype. Fair enough. Do you have a routine? This is the second question. Do you have a routine before you go on stage? What is it?
If I haven't already prayed with my castmates, we get a prayer in. I thank them. It's crazy. That shit chokes me up, bro.
Wow.
I thank them because anybody that thinks I just had this conversation with my business partner. I just had this conversation yesterday. If you think I'm good, look at the people that make me good.
Yeah.
Check out the people that make me as good as you think I am.
Yeah.
That's me. So I'm thankful before I go in, and it's like anything personal. I just again, I thank the Lord myself, and then I'm a ball of energy. I'm ready to go. I'm on go. No matter how calm or wild the character is, I am intense when it comes to it, because I'm like, when you performing with me, baby, you better bring your lunch, man. Don't leave nothing on the plate.
I know that's right. I'm gonna eat it up. I'm gonna eat it up. Third question. Where do you find the most peace?
When I can finally take a nap.
No, that's right.
And I sleep, and it's crazy. I sleep more comfortable in my truck, or I shouldn't even say in my work car, but in those times when I can take a break and sit in my car, I get more peace right before I go in the house for the end of the night.
Boy, listen, bro. I understand that one, man. I think many men understand that, man. I know my uncle. My uncle used to just sit in the car before he goes in the house and just take deep breaths.
Yo, man, I mess around and be at the crib. I'll be pulling up to the crib at five something. I wake up, it's 8:30.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I missed rehearsal. Oh, wait a minute, I had rehearsal tonight.
All right. Next question is, what's the best advice you ever received?
The best advice I ever received was a lot of fleas will eat a dog ass up.
Yo, hear that one for the tapes. A lot of fleas will eat a dog ass up. This is one of the next questions is, what's one thing that you can't live without?
Breath.
That part. That is the easiest one in the world. Easiest one in the world. Next one. What's the worst job you ever had?
I can't say. Oh shit! Telemarketing. Excuse me. Telemarketing.
Yeah, boy, man. I think I did telemarketing for 2 days. It was not a good job.
Lasted that long?
Yeah. Yeah, it was not a good one.
First day, all right. Second day, yeah, this ain't working. I was done before lunch.
What's the best job you ever had?
Oh, man, strangely enough, working with my father, man.
Wow.
People call it crazy. Slowly, that's tied with working at the McDonald's at 30th Street Station. That kept me immersed. That's what kept me from 14 to 17 when I graduated high school. That was what kept me immersed in talent. I met a lot of celebrities because of 30th Street Station.
Traveling.
Coming to McDonald's. They're traveling up and down the East Coast. And I mean, you name them, I probably met them. And again, pinched a little piece off of everything so much that Aaron Hall remembered me from. They were remodeling the McDonald's inside of 30th Street Station. They had a big trailer outside on the Market Street side of 30th Street Station. He actually remembered me, him and Gerald Levert. They remembered me when I met them years later when I was pushing our music.
Wow.
Yeah, they were both cool. And Gerald was like, yo, I really can't do nothing with the hip hop, but I can introduce it to somebody. I can talk to my people. And, you know, God rest the brother, because those were two of my favorite artists as well on the R&B side that I was just surprised they remember me from working at McDonald's.
That's crazy. The last question here, brother, is what's the last thing that you Googled?
Last thing that I Googled. Here, let me look at my phone and tell you. Last thing that I Googled was Angel Reese getting ejected. Not Auburn basketball player. Oh, the Auburn basketball player that got ejected during the tournament.
Okay.
He got ejected for what appeared to be a simple do nothing foul, but I'll keep saying the BS is afoot. If you think it ain't no money on these goddamn college games and tournaments, boy, this brother got ejected, man. So yeah, that was the last thing that I Googled was this brother getting ejected from the basketball.
This has been a dope interview, TC, man. Before we wrap it up, before we leave, right, please tell everybody where they can find you at and stay up on everything TC Storm Caldwell.
All right, bang. So got a few ways that you can get me. Now, thinking we all on social media, right? Unfortunately, my names are different on social media. So if you're on Facebook, you go to TC Caldwell, T.C. Caldwell. That's the performer show page or whatever. But it's also connected to the page with my government name. So I'm not telling y'all that because I hate it and it is what it is. But if you go under Storm E Weathers /TC Caldwell or TC Caldwell /Storm E Weathers, that's my fan page on Facebook. If you go to IG, Storm_E_Weathers, end it with a Z. That way, you know you got it right. And I also have a Storm.E.Weathers.entertainment page for all things business related. You can catch me. You can go to IMDb, and I'm on IMDb. Look the brother up. Help me get my star meter up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because I need my folks to get their credits right. I see my people that I'm in a lot of shows with getting they star meters is in the 10,000s and 8. I need some of that parts right now. Because right now, three numbers in the front of the comma on my joint. Let me see. Yeah, so that's Instagram. So on Instagram and Facebook, and TikTok is storm_e_weathers. On Instagram, there's storm.e.weathers.entertainment. And like I said, on Facebook, you hit me on TC Caldwell or TC Caldwell/storm_e_weathers is the fan page. And yeah, holla at your big homie. He always
Holla at him. Yo, listen, if you need to book my brother.
Check it. Most of the people on Facebook. If you check most of the folks y'all friends with on Facebook, you'll probably see that I'm friends with them too.
Biggest fact ever, man. Biggest fact ever. Listen, man, you big unk, bro. You're like you there for everybody, man. So it's all love, man. This has been a dope interview. It's been really good to hear the background of your story, and I know that somebody is going to be blessed and inspired, not just by your story, but your journey and how you keep pushing and what you actually stand for. So thank you for standing for that. Thank you for all the things that you have done, man. Thank you for being a part of the Josiah Enterprise Theater Festival. Thank you for saying yes when we called, brother, and thank you for just always being humble, man. You had such an amazing journey, and I just can't wait to see what God has in store for you, because man, you think you're getting award listings now and awards now, man, just wait till that Tony, right? Wait till that Tony. And with that being said, man, this is TC Storm Caldwell with Interviews with Your Brand Man. This has been so dope. I am your brand man, and we are out. Peace, guys. Peace.
I made it come up, coming from the bottom, nigga, headed to the top. I ain't gonna quit, nigga, I ain't gonna stop, no.